On this episode of Game Shack, I review Numbskull Arcade's quarter-scale QIX reproduction arcade game. I'll talk all about my initial impressions, not only just of this game specifically, but of the quarter-scale home arcade game lineup in general. All that and more coming up next. Hey everybody, welcome on into the Game Shack. I'm your host, JDV for Evil Genius Entertainment. Thank you for stopping by. It really does mean a lot to us. As I record this episode, it's just a little over 3 weeks to Christmas 2025. So I thought I would review these sort of quarter scale arcades that you can buy right now on Amazon. They range anywhere from $166 for a Burger Time all the way up to $260 for this QIX machine at the time I review this, and prices go up to $280 if you look at something like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So anyway, anywhere from about $160 up to about $280, and they have several different games that you can choose from. And anyway, this is my review of the QIX machine. Before I get into it any further, just want to let you guys know that they did send this to me for purposes of review. No money has changed hands. I have made no promises to review this thing anything else other than fairly, but do your own research. Just don't rely upon my word. But anyway, I'll try to be as unbiased as I can, despite the fact that they sent this thing to me for free. Okay, so that out of the way, a little background about this machine and my own personal use. When I was growing up, there were only 4 or 5 coin-operated arcade machines in the entire county that I was in. Pinball was still king back in the early 80s, late 70s, at least where I lived. And you could play Space Invaders at one place. It was a restaurant. You could play Galaxian at a local gas station, and you could play QIX at a local drugstore. So I have a lot of time on this game way back in the day when it took every little quarter that they could squeeze out of old JDV. So when Numbskull Arcade reached out to me and asked me which machine I wanted to review, I chose this one. I chose it because I know we're never going to see this machine reproduced in a 3/4 scale. At least I don't think we will. I'm going to tell you why we should though in a little bit. So obviously some nostalgia played a part in terms of me picking this machine, but I also wanted a machine that I thought I could play. I'm not really a collector of toys or small memorabilia type things in general. To me, I want them to have a use, even if it is a minor use. I still want to be able to use it. I just figured QIX being a simpler game, it's just where you make rectangles on this little screen right here, using one button essentially and one joystick. I figured that that was going to give me the best chance to have playability. So for those reasons, I picked this game. And as it turns out, my picking of that was a good idea for a lot of reasons. This is an exact reproduction, or as exact as you're going to be able to find for something like this. Now, is it actually a quarter scale? It's probably more like a 5th or a 6th scale, at least looking at it. You can kind of see it here, measured with the tape measure. You can just kind of get an idea. Here, let me do this. I had this out. So here is a 20-inch Dell monitor that I'm getting ready to stick into one of my arcade 1-ups, and you can kind of get an idea of the scale of just the size of this thing compared to a 20-inch 5.4 Dell. Now this is probably the biggest 5.4 screen you can get. It's a beefy little guy. Hopefully that gives you some kind of idea as the actual scale of this thing. So when I packaged this, I was hit by 2 very strong emotions very quickly. One was an emotional response. As soon as I got it out of the packaging, which is very nice, very handsome. If you're thinking about giving this to somebody, you will not regret buying it in terms of how it looks. It looks fantastic both in the box and out of the box. But my first reaction was, wow, that is cool. Just so cool. I mean, again, I love home arcade machines and arcade machines in general, so maybe this was like shooting fish in a barrel, but I really enjoyed just as soon as it came out of the package and I fired it up, oh my God, just like, wow, that is so cool. A little bit about that. One of the great things about this game is that you take it out of its package, you plug it in, you turn it on, bam, you're playing. There's no construction of the machine. There's no online anything that you have to sign into, nothing like that. This is exactly kind of what someone like me wants, which is plug and play immediately. No muss, no fuss, it just works. Basically, you hit the coin door to give yourself credits, hit the start button, and away you go. So yeah, the first thing that hit me was, wow, is that thing cool? It was a lot cooler than I thought it was gonna be. You see the pictures of it and even videos of it. It kind of, you know, it's hard to kind of translate into video on YouTube the real life impact that something that is a perfect reproduction, albeit smaller, can have on you, particularly if you had played something like this back in the past. The second thing that hit me almost right after that, and quite strongly as well, is the genius of 3/4 scale arcades. And if you look at the scale of this, I mean, look at how much width that is. Can you imagine how big this thing would be in real life? It would be absolutely huge, way too big for most of us to justify having a one-game home arcade if this was actually at a 1-to-1 scale. But this kind of scale is perfect for a one-off game like QIX, a game that is good and is fun to play. It's just probably not worthy of its own single game cab. Now, I would argue that this game would match perfectly on something like a Pac-Mania, where you have a vertical screen, one joystick, and a couple of buttons. That translates perfectly to that. I can see this game being on there very easily, as opposed to something like Rolling Thunder, say. Talk a little bit about how the game plays. Game plays great. I mean, the little joystick I thought was going to snap right off. It has to be metal here, some kind of steel or something. It feels very solid. This feels solid. I mean, it feels as solid as something this small can be. The recessed screen, the little bezel around it there, all of it looks super cool. It doesn't just look good, it sounds good too. Now, one of the great things about this, and this to me is one of the strong arguments for getting something like this, other than for that nostalgia pop and other to have something really cool on your bookcase, is that this thing plays. It actually plays, and you can play it. You might have to get in there, and if you have really bad eyesight, maybe it's not for you, but most people are going to be able to play this thing all day long. Talk a little bit about the technical specs. It's like a 5-inch screen is what they say. I measured it as slightly less than that, so it's not a giant screen at all, but of course it is representative of the cab in this kind of scale. The build quality has been excellent. Worked right out of the box. Again, the battery life is really good on it. All of the buttons have worked on it. It is the original ROM, which is very, very cool. It's kind of interesting that something this small can have the original ROM, and yet something like the Pac-Man game for Arcade 1-Up does not. So if you're into original ROMs, that's part of the reason to justify some of these costs, is that apparently all of these games have the original ROM. And of course it has all of the original artwork. Again, I'm surprised by the build quality of the joystick. It seems really, really strong. And you know, despite the fact my kids played it all day during Thanksgiving, and I've played it for about a week now, nothing has gone wrong, no cracks, nothing like that. It just works exactly the way you want it to. So bottom line, 2 thumbs up. I now have a completely different attitude about these quarter scale arcades. At first I thought they were just an idiot idea, and maybe for some games they are. Again, I don't know how playable some of those games are going to be at this scale, but some of them clearly are playable, and because it's playable, because it's so accurate, because it has a long-lasting battery on there, long enough that it lasted all day during Thanksgiving. My family played on this thing all day long, and for a couple of days afterwards, all on the same charge. Those are some really, really cool things. The fact that it has the original ROM on there is really cool, right? I mean, that is, you can get access to the dip switches. There's a lot of interesting things. If I had only one complaint, it'd been nice to see some more games. I always want more bang for the buck, and give us a little secret menu. You know, give me 1 or 2 other games. Because again, this is not a $50 machine. This is a $250 machine, right? So at that price point, you know, you could just snuck in one other game that used one joystick and a couple of buttons. I don't know how feasible that is. I always want more. But that's really my only complaint about this. Otherwise, you got the lit marquee, you have the lit instructions here, you have this great looking screen, lit coin doors. I mean, this thing absolutely, it's shocking how cool it looks in person. I really was very blown out of the water by just how cool and how functional this game is. So yeah, it's 2 big thumbs up from me. All right, if you dig this kind of content, let me know down below. We have a great little community here that comes over to this channel. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and jump in down there. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and hit the notification bell if you do. That helps the channel too. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the Game Shack. See you guys. Awesome little game.
Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.